Hello to anybody watching me out there, if anyone is there. I've decided to make a video about the truth about all those private Instagram viewer videos where you have to go to certain surveys and click on stuff. And apparently there's a way to bypass the surveys, and apparently it's working. So I'm just gonna clarify some stuff because I've seen a lot of those videos on YouTube, which actually all kind of suggest that it can be done, that it's doable, and you just have to follow certain steps or procedures to get your to view private accounts on Instagram. But there are no videos actually explaining how it works, other than any magical stuff that apparently it works, and that like I said, you just have to click on certain things and whatnot. So what I've decided to do is I'm gonna make a video, and I'm gonna post a video which explains from a developer point of view, if you want, how it should be working and why none of these websites work, and why all of these websites are actually just scamming filters that record your emails, fish for your data information, and if you don't have any antivirus installed, they're just going to try to infiltrate your machine. Now, bear in mind, the first thing is that English is not my mother tongue, so I may sound off at times. I consider myself a pretty fluent English speaker, but maybe you could ask me for clarifications, because sometimes I do not pronounce words correctly. That's first. And second, I'm just using an external microphone. I kind of tested, but I don't have a lot of time to test it. So I'm just gonna consider that it's working. I'm gonna have to listen to it thereafter, but I hope it's not gonna create much problems with like fuzz and like muffle and stuff, and I just hope that my voice would be clear enough. So what you see in front of you is just a picture I took from like a random Google image, and I just pasted it into Paint. Because I'm not going to use any pictures to back up my explanation. It's just too long, and I don't consider it like moderate to use any pictures or stuff or any screenshots, because the real truth is pretty easy. And you have to trust me. I wouldn't ask for attention just by saying this is the truth about. All I want to say is that I know I've tested them, and they're all the same thing pretty much. And I'm just going to go over the programming 101, like if you want networking, internet, JavaScript and stuff 101, to explain to you why they can't work as they're programmed. So the first thing is that, ever since Web 2.0 was launched, like in the mid-aughts, like around 2005 or something like that, there are two things to consider. The first thing is the cache. Like the cache, CACHE, the cached data and the cached values. Anything that comes from websites you visit, and anything that is stored into a certain temp folder of your device is called cache. So, for example, if you visit a certain website like Google or something, and you do a search for, I don't know, raccoons, you're gonna have a search for raccoons cached in your Google data somewhere in your browser temporary folder. I'm not gonna specify because it's too complex. I'm just saying, the basics as I know it. So the cache is what allows your device to recognize data on certain websites, and which allow certain websites to work with your device. So for example, once again, if you go from a laptop and you visit Instagram on laptop, any cache would be directly, how to say this, accessed by Instagram servers and treated and processed. And this way, for example, if an individual has blocked you on Instagram, I'm not talking about private accounts, I'm talking about complete bans, the cache would work, because the cache would record you as, for example, that individual being XYZ and you being ABC. That's your username on Instagram. So as soon as you visit XYZ, the cache will let XYZ server part that concerns this user know that you're ABC, and it's going to directly block. So anytime you're going to open up the same website, as long as this cache exists in the temp folder and it hasn't been cleaned, you're still going to see the ban is going to say, unfortunately, the content is unavailable because the user has blocked you. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. It's actually the easiest one. It's just concerning your device, and you can clean the cache completely, or you can use like how to say this? Well, like on Google Chrome, it's called incognito, I believe, in English, but it's actually private browsing. If you use private, it disregards the cache. It just uses, like, you can type in raccoons, it's not going to remember it. That's what's, by remembering, I mean it's not going to create a cache data value somewhere in the registry saying that you looked for raccoons on Google. That's the first thing. Now the second and the most important thing are cookies. Cookies were invented on any JavaScript website. Anything that is related to server that has timed content which is updated not by a certain user, but by a group of users or by a device itself constantly. So there's a server updating information constantly, like every 5 minutes, every 20 minutes, every hour, whatever. Cookies exist to remind that server, that host domain, who is who, and how every user is logged in and what they did and where they went on the specific server and domain. So once again, a simple example is you have a certain forum. The forums that were created with Web 2.0, 2.0, starting 2005 or 6, the same kind of year they were updated. Like the best example is Image Power Board, IPB. Now this is a server existing from roughly 2007, and it uses a lot, it relies on cookies. So for example, you're a certain individual. Once again, your username is ABC, and you want to access a thread on the forum which is XYZ, but XYZ thread is only available to users who are either A or B or C, or I don't know, DEF or GHI or so on. So ABC is not on the list to access this thread. This information is recorded on the server. If you try to access it, it's not going to work as ABC. You'll have to access it as any other username. Okay? So you can access a different thread on the same forum, which has broader access, which means that the parameter to access this thread for a group of users of this forum is infinite. I don't know, maybe it says true, maybe it says 0. You know, those of you who ever worked with the registry, you'd understand me. So sometimes it says true, false, 0, 1, whatever. It depends on the language of the machine used by the server. So if in this thread it says anyone can access, ABC can access, XYZ can access. But for example, a different thread on the same server, which has, like, for example, the first thread has number 100.ht, ASP, HTML, XTML, whatever. So the thread's name is 100, which is, thread is by definition on the server in the parameters and the registry recorded as public. You can access it. So anybody who is not a white space, which means everybody can access it. So the value is true. Now in the other thread, which is 101, say 101.html, the parameters were changed by the administrator of the forum, for example. So instead of saying true, it says false, exceptions, XYZ. And any on the list, if you go, by 3 letters on the alphabet, if you go up, go down, except for ABC. And so it means that you can try to access thread 101.html from any other machine, notwithstanding the machine. It can be a laptop, it can be a public computer, it can be a phone, a pad. But as soon as you log in as ABC, it says you're banned. You cannot, because the cookies start to work, and in the cookies it says it's ABC. And I'm not talking about the cookies that were installed by the browser itself to, to match the cookies from the server. We're talking about the server cookies. It's a big data compile, whatever. So as soon as they check and they know that ABC does not have access to threads 101, it says you're banned. It says you don't have access here. That's it. This is how on modern forums certain moderators and part of administration and like check users, they can access this part of the forum, but regular users cannot. It's a simple registry modification that goes with the cookies, which are always updated. So in order to go there, you'll have to hack those cookies. I know it can be done. You can access servers remotely, because you can access remotely every machine, and a server is just a machine. But, you'll have to find someone to do this, because any individual would not, it's going to be a long process. And many people for a certain, a forum, even a certain automotive forum or like clothing forum or like whatever, pornography forums, they just say that they're going to be wasting their time, because it's going to be hours and hours of trying to bypass a certain networking process to access there, to have a machine strong enough to overwrite information of that machine and so on. So this is a little bit more complex step. And if you don't understand it, don't bother going further, because I'm going to move to the final part of my video where I'm going to explain how Instagram is actually that server and user accounts are actually threads, because it actually makes a lot of sense. It binds a lot. So here we go. Unlike any forum which has access to certain groups of users, Instagram actually acts as a huge forum, a huge server, application, program, service on the server, which has, I don't know how many Instagram users out there. I'm just going to throw in a wild guess number, like Facebook, I think, has 500 million, 1.5 billion. Say Instagram has hundreds of millions of accounts. Some of them are fake, some of them are actually news accounts and so on. But every account is a thread. And in every account, you can specify parameters. So I believe before a certain version of Instagram, which probably came out 1 year ago, you couldn't do that. So it was a little bit more primitive. Every thread was actually only available for viewing to anybody, I think, with an account or something like this. But it was available to everybody out there, whether you're following or not. But ever since they made those private accounts feature and this whole thing started, that's the same clue. It's like you have a parameter on the server of Instagram related to user ABC that says checking by, I don't know, viewing, opening, access by every user, true. And this is how a public account works. Now, a private account, it changes true to false, and then in the exceptions, it's going to list anybody who's following this individual. And by tapping grant access or whatever it's called, when you have someone and actually the person knocks, as we say in common sense in vernacular language, to your account, and you say accept. This is when you add on the server. It's not in your device. It's not in the settings of your account. It's on the server, on the huge machine that has your username written and registered, that you're saying that this individual, this certain user, now has the right. So he or she falls into the true category, even though for the general audience it remains false. So with this said, those accounts, those services you find on the web to say how to view private Instagram pictures, and they go about every certain click or button. Some of them even say that they're downloading data, they're sending packets, they're doing this, they're doing that, and then they're gonna propose to download a zip as I don't know, RAR, as any other service, or just view, or what do you like to view, they're just playing with you. I'm gonna allow myself the F word, but they're fucking you. That's what they're doing. They're just fucking with you. They're actually acting worse than those survey websites. Why? And I'm explaining here. At least to have a credible working private Instagram viewer on the web, you will have to, whomever the author of this program or application, they'll have to ask the individual to provide a user name which is existing of the user who is one of the following users, one of the people following that account. So for example, if XYZ goes private, and you type in instagram.com/xyz/enter, and it says blah 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 blah, this individual, so many posts, so many following, so many followers, and it says the account is private, follow them to see their blah, 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 and you're ABC and you're not in the list of the followers, it's not going to work for you, whether you're ABC or whether you're Carrot or whether you're Beat or whether your name is Raccoon. If it's not in the followers list, it's not going to work. But if you know a follower and say you're not ABC, but ABC is someone who follows private XYZ, then at least this system, this website, should be asking to provide the username of like a dummy username, like a username to be used as sock puppet to follow, to open up. So logically it's going to ask, type in one of the followers of this account. If you know any follower, because it's not disclosed, right? And when you try to tap or click on, suppose it says 100 followers and you want to tap, okay, it's not working if it's a private account. But in your head, for example, you know, because you went onto a different public account of, say, ABC's public account, and then you clicked on following, and you saw XYZ in the list. So you know ABC is following XYZ, but XYZ is private and ABC is public. So this, once again, this program has to ask you to enter ABC first, because it's going to use ABC's cookies to access XYZ and to prove to the server that it's not any dummy from the website trying to access, but it's ABC. So that the server can access the parameter and say, well, it's true. It's false for everybody, but it's true for ABC. So I'm going to show the pictures to ABC because he's admitted, or she's admitted, or whatever. This user is admitted. You understand? So what's going to happen is then it's going to send pictures, it's going to send data to this program. And then this program can say, well, I logged you in as ABC for XYZ, so here you go. Here are XYZ's pictures. We're gonna assume you're ABC, so here you go. You can now view them. You can even like them. You can comment them. When you're gonna comment, it's gonna say ABC. You understand? This is the main aspect, or this is the main criteria people have to understand out there, because they think that accessing private Instagrams can be the same as accessing public Instagrams. But you only need to, I don't know, type in the private, click here, and then follow 3 goddamn surveys. And then, whoopsie, what a surprise, it doesn't work because the surveys are all crap. They're just scamming filters. And videos made by certain individuals saying that their work is also crap. Because these individuals want attention. And I don't know who commands and says, well, you're right, I just tried and it works, because this is bullshit. It doesn't work. You can try anyone out there by common sense logic of the fact that the information is stocked on the server, and the access to the server is made private by default by the cookies used in the server. And so if you're not part of the clique or of the group of the list of individuals who have access, then it's not going to work for you. You might as well, seriously, you might as well just create your own account on Instagram, add some credibility, and if you know the person, who just try to follow them. Because if this is how it works, then why should a certain program, which only takes, I don't know, 5 seconds, bypass everything else and just say, there you go, we're just gonna turn your private account into public. Or even worse, we're gonna download the data from there. Okay, sure, but whom are you downloading this for? It's not gonna let anybody access this data. So I guess this is it. I know it took me 20 goddamn minutes, but I just wanted to make things clear, because I've seen people out there get like, I don't know, trying to say like, what the hell am I doing there? It doesn't work. Sure, it doesn't work, and it's not gonna work. And well, with these kind of websites, it's not gonna work. Maybe in the future, if someone creates something to, like I said, be able to bypass the cookies and access this certain thread, which is the individual's private page, as to hack the server to think that they are this friend, let's say friend or follower, it's not going to work. So I'm not saying that in theory it's not doable. I'm just saying that in current practice it's not doable, because nobody has ever created, to my knowledge and understanding, we are the beginning of May 2017, this kind of device or application or program, but it's just going to be part of a script. But so far nobody tried. Because like I said, it's just going to take even longer than trying to hack a forum, because when you're hacking a forum, you're hacking a certain, how to say this, a website which has probably over a gigabyte of data, maybe 2, maybe 3, but a usual fan-based forum is going to be no more than 5 gigs of data. But when you're trying to hack Instagram or Facebook, you're hacking thousands of terabytes. And when you go into thousands of terabytes, I think there's a different suffix that applies. We're not talking about terabytes anymore. It's going to be something else bytes. I just don't know the term. But just bear this in mind. I know it's doable. There are teams hacking Microsoft, but think about the fame and popularity and how much money is invested into doing this versus how much would be invested into just opening one private account on Instagram. This person has got to be fucking damn important to the world to go private so that it can be hacked like this. That's all I'm saying. You have much more, it's like brute force on passwords, you have much more luck, seriously, and chance to be accepted if you just create an account and you just use your own real account and you just knock and you get accepted. Or if this individual has banned you for some reason, like we're talking about private relationships. I think this is the main reason this whole scamming service exists. If we're talking about private relationships, then in this case, the only luck you have is to wait for the individual to go public again, because remember that if they go private, and that's another thing, this is what distinguishes private from public, they can hashtag, but those hashtags are only visible to the followers, not even to the following list, but to the followers list. So anybody who's not a follower is not going to find these posts. I know it. And the fact that they were probably visible before is also bullshit. It's not true. It wasn't visible. As soon as they introduced private accounts feature, they just introduced the parameter for the individual to be able to change that part of the server and to make, a private list for the account. So they're changing their own, the cookies of their own account on the server. And as soon as this was invented, you just can't hashtag without, because the parameter is true only for the click, for the list. That's it. So I don't know if I'm not asking you to enjoy my video. I'm not asking you to like it. I'm not asking you to dislike it. I'm not asking you to not to report it or whatever. I'm just I wanted to make 30 minutes of speech, but actually I didn't want to make 30 minutes. It just turned out to be 30 minutes. I do talk a lot of explaining why and how this whole thing doesn't work. And you're just being scammed if you're trying if you're believing in it and you're trying, you're just going to get scammed. And those who are most tenacious, they're going to continue getting scammed. But usually I think people give up after 3 or 4 tentatives. They just say it's not worth it. And I do understand them. Whom I do not understand seriously is, I don't share their fun when I see that they're creating fake videos that say that somehow you're able to view Instagram, fake, completely fake. And then you have different fake accounts, probably people paid, because I've seen it on the web, who come and say, oh, it works, great, 100%, and then they go as far as to say, well, it didn't work yesterday, but it works today, tried a week ago, no, but now it's completely working, now I can spy on my ex. As soon as you know spying on an ex comment is written, you don't understand it's a scam, because this is the audience they're making this for, that they're basically living off those late teens, young adults who are gonna click on their surveys, I'm using quote marks with my fingers, and then get scammed. That's all. And okay, my video is probably for you guys because I don't understand. I don't know anybody else, trying to so hard and using different services and then saying, well, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna give up. Don't do this. That's it. It's not worth it. Do something else. Find a different individual. Change your lifestyle. Or you can wait if they change their mind to accept you. Or you can wait if they go public. These are the only 2 solutions. That's it. So here's me ending the video. If you have any comments, you can make comments. I'm not banning anybody from this. I'm just not a ban like in person. And also, in case you're wondering, I don't have Instagram. I had it, I deleted it, I never went private. I do understand the feature and how it's being used against spammers, but I'm not going private. I never went private. That's it. So there you go. I'm gonna upload this now. Hopefully it's gonna work. Thanks for watching.